You can get the real job, or you can use your proactivity and imagination and become an entrepreneur. And therefore, you always have some choices in life. You can be either secure, or you can risk a little bit and try to make some positive impact in this world. So I have chosen the path of micromobility business almost a decade ago, and this is the story of my entrepreneurial endeavors. So the presentation is named From Dusk Till Dawn because of a simple reason. Entrepreneurs don't work like 9 to 5 as people employed in bigger companies or in public authorities usually do. We actually work until the work is done. So what we were trying to do with this business is not only to live our dream, but also trying to lead by example, where we try to move the micromobility business, which means bike sharing and e-scooter sharing, from, so to say, only freaks use this kind of mobility in the cities to the mainstream. So we would like to use to have the use case in the future, whereas bike sharing and e-scooter sharing would become as important part of public transportation as today we have metros, trams and buses. And most the people who I would like to thank the most which have brought us to this level are the two tribes. The two tribes in terms of people who are really committed to their work and who believe in this story of bike and e-scooter sharing. And these are two brands. Nextbike, one of the world's largest and mostly widespread bike sharing systems, and who have been found in 2004, and I have started working with them in 2012 together with my partner. And the next one is Dash or Dash City. This is the world's first docked e-scooter system in comparison to all the other e-scooter systems which are really popular nowadays, especially in Europe and the US and China. Besides making a positive impact in terms of CO2 footprint, in terms of air pollution, a lot of these systems actually create a lot of other type of pollution in terms of littering public space by abandoned scooters or vandalized scooters or stolen scooters. So when we were thinking of expanding the business of bike sharing with scooters, we first thought on how to integrate the best practices from both worlds. And instead of having free floating scooters littering the space all around the cities, we have decided to have a little bit conservative version from the user perspective, but from the city's perspective and from the operator's perspective, this is more sustainable way to keep the scooters safely docked in the stations where they are at the same time being charged and where they are not littering public space. Plus, the energy consumption is in some cases even up to 150 times lower. So this is the story on how this all began, my entrepreneurial journey. I have met my former partner at Zagreb School of Economics and Management in 2012, and actually I was just mingling there, trying to see and to meet some people who would join me in some of my entrepreneurial ideas. But then I saw a very nice presentation on bike sharing, and I met the guy. His name is Ante, so we joined this project together. He asked me if I could help him bring this thing to reality, and at that time we were both in very poor situation because he was traveling constantly from Split to Zagreb on a student budget, so he had like a couple of kunas in his pocket. I was actually undergoing a divorce, plus moving from 100 square meters to 30 square meters. So actually, he was penniless, and on the other side, I was totally broke. So at this life-turning moments for both of us, we have created the first business plan. The first business plan, of course, like most of the business plans, didn't work out, and therefore we went to the bank like at least on 10 occasions, making various iterations of this business plan. We have engaged external consultants who were helping us more out of charity than to make some money of us, because our budgets were non-existent at that time. And then our plan was actually to start the production of first bike sharing scheme in Croatia with 100% Croatian resources. After 6 months of planning, changing, meeting people, we had like at least 200 meetings with various instances, and we have came to the wall. Seeing that most of the mentors and the banks and investors wouldn't give us a penny for the project because there was no scalability, because in order to build something on a higher scale where you can expand the business globally, you need to have all the incoming costs adequate in order to create a sustainable business plan. This just simply didn't work out even after 20 iterations. So we almost stopped working at the project because of this. Other people's disbelief actually became our disbelief. And in order to cut this situation and to still move on, we went to the bank again. They told us you don't have any collateral. There was also lack of R&D stage funding, so we decided that the production in Croatia wouldn't be the best idea. And then we started searching because we had a great desire to still implement the project, at least in Zagreb. We started searching for foreign partners who could help us at least with the production, and then we would adapt the system to the local needs, meet the local mentality of the people, local transportation demands, and see how it can go. So with a little help of our friends and some business partners, we started implementing the first scheme in Zagreb, and actually we got the loan from the bank who offered us the money first. We told that bank that we can also take the loan from another bank, yet it would be easier for us to return the loan if the same bank would be also our sponsor. And the first bank didn't want to do that. Then we went to the second bank, and they didn't want to do it either. So it was kind of too risky to sponsor such a pioneering project. And then we got a call from the first bank and said, listen, it's better for us still to do our KPIs in the credit board department, and we will give you the loan, and we will connect you with our marketing department. So this is how the story started. This is how the sponsorship funding started. Also because at the same time, in one go, we got both the loan and the sponsor. Then the telecom company joined us. They helped us to implement SMS top-up type of payment for the end users. And we have started building the story called Next Bike Zagreb. These are the first pictures of the system in Zagreb. So one of the first stations was at the main train station, and this was just a picture taken out of nothing and became, in our small micromobility world, like the historic artifact which we are always showing with a smile on our faces. After that, when the whole project started moving, we started working on the quality of the service, whereas we have implemented 24/7 customer support, which consisted of both physical servicing of the bikes and stations, balancing of the stations. When one of the stations get overloaded, then we implemented the call center with full IVR system, and also we implemented service staff apps, so the service guys don't just jump around like crazy, but they had some software which they could use to easily monitor the whole system. Soon after opening first couple of cities, after Zagreb, Šibenik came as a project, and Karlovac and some other cities. We started getting some rewards, which is not here only like to showing off, but to show the future entrepreneurs what kind of help you can use, which is non-financial, which can help you still boost the business. Because if you have the recognition from like several widely known institutions, then when you come to the bank next time, this time not in the startup phase, then they look at you with different eyes, and they can see that you have already managed to establish something, and then getting the funding becomes much more easier. One of the biggest helps that we have received, not only in terms of money or networking, etc., but with private support on a personal level and encouragement, came from our friends and people that we've met along the way. And these people have really marked our story, because they were the best promoters of the whole system. And also what helps a little bit is cash. So the first funding was 30,000 euros that we got from the Ministry of Craftsmen and Entrepreneurship. This has boosted one project in continental Croatia, and after that we also got some help from other corporate friends. So among these, I would say 15 to 20 brands that helped us in a way that they became our sponsors or advertisers. This has boosted the business enough in Zagreb and some other cities, and the final result was the network of 31 cities in Croatia, and later we also broke into the Bosnian and Slovenian market. So when we came to this stage, this was in 2018 or 19, this was the first time when the first investors actually started showing interest in us, because at the beginning it was just our wishful thinking that we are a nice story. Everyone would clap their hands or just give us a little piece of encouragement, but when it came to funding, they all said, no, we can give you just like a couple of thousand euros as a goodwill, but actually we don't see a big prospects out of it. Things changed significantly, because after lobbying with institutional partners, cities and municipalities started getting more and more EU funding, and this has boosted the business totally, which resulted in opening of Split, which is now 3 times bigger system than Zagreb, thanks to EU funding. And EU funding came, of course, through the mediation of the local authorities, but this all would never happen if the story didn't go this way, where we have worked hard for 5 or 6 years to really bring this business from very back office, so to say, to the mainstream. So cities started recognizing this as a good story for their citizens and also for the tourists. I will guide you very shortly through the slides. So these slides are showing pictures from our 7 years of operations, press conferences. This press conferences was in Sarajevo with famous actors as brand promoters. Then we had some Croatian models who promoted the brand, some actors. And all these people as brand ambassadors and friends of the project really helped us promote the whole story throughout not only Croatia but also the region. We organized a lot of cycling events, attended a lot of student conferences where we had case studies for the students who were helping us into promoting the project, and also doing some sales promotions, etc., giving us ideas, and then in return we would either hire them to work for our company, or we would just engage them as honorary associates. We also founded the Next Bike Running team to promote the brand. So we had 150 to 200 runners running for us. So at some stage in 2016, we had a team that was bigger than some of the largest Croatian companies' teams. After that, when running became massively popular in Croatia, we couldn't catch up anymore because we were too small. But it was a nice part of our history where we saw that the large number of people believes in our project. One of the most important drivers in my personal life are my twins, who really helped me encouraging their dad into persisting in what I was doing. And my kids even made a yearly calendar for me, and each month had a little story and some pictures from our cycling events or road trips, excursions, and etc. And then I have engaged my 12-year-old daughter to become my social media manager, and she gladly accepted it. I even paid her 100 kunas to create this. So she had this saying that you always need to keep your inner child inside yourself, or you will grow old too soon. So we have created a little series of Instagram and Facebook posts, and based on that, we have created a printed version of the planner with the same wording. So this was our little dad and daughter campaign. And then investors started showing interest, but actually the biggest investor was my former partner. He has found some funding to take over the company. I got a little tired after 7 years of working like 15 hours per day, including weekends. So I said, okay, it's time for me to take some rest. I wanted to take a rest for like 2 years because before my entrepreneurial endeavor, I was working for some other companies for 15 years. So this actually became a little exhausting, and I decided to exit. I took the break, and actually the exit took place maybe 2 weeks before the first lockdown. So it kind of blended together, and at that time I really had time to rest. I enjoyed the civil guard, not to be completely passive at home. I did a road trip before the total lockdown throughout Central Europe, and after months of thinking and resting, people from Nextbike Poland, who are the second biggest Nextbike country in the world, came to me and they asked me whether I would like to join them in another project called e-scooter sharing. I said, okay, I don't like this pollution which free-floating systems are causing in European cities and also Chinese, and a lot of such systems are being abandoned from the cities because they create too much mess in the streets. But then we have came to idea that we could use the best practice from bike sharing, whereas these scooters can be charged at fixed stations dedicated by the public authorities or private partners like shopping malls, IT companies, or big corporations. And we started the first pilot project in 2019 in Zadar. This showed to be very exciting both for the city, for us, and for the customers. So we extended the project in 2020 when we have opened 3 additional cities. These were Šibenik, Biograd, and Crikvenica with neighboring Selce. So this is how the system looks like. It's the first docked e-scooter micromobility platform. These are the users, so from various cities on the coast. We had a lot of media coverage in the beginning, even without PR campaigns, so this was just organic PR interest. And the figures that came out of it were, of course, CO2 footprint reduction, then a lot of energy saving because this type of charging saves 150 times more energy than regular exchange of batteries that the free-floating systems are doing. And also there is less manpower needed and literally zero scooters that are littering public space. these are more interesting numbers from the perspective of end users. This year we are looking at almost 100,000 or more users only in Croatia, and this only with a fleet of 500. Last year we had only 130 scooters and 20,000 registered users. This year we are planning to what is bigger than quadruple, quintuple or something, five times bigger. So this was the picture of Croatia in 2020 when we were pioneering with this project. I would say that these were mostly pilot projects, and then in this year and next one we are planning to expand all over Croatian coast, and there is already interest shown from continental cities and also from the cities in the neighboring countries like Montenegro, Serbia and Slovenia. And also because of my networking with Poland, we have some options in Poland, Slovakia and Czech Republic. So just to briefly conclude the whole story, once you enter not only micromobility but private business, I think it's impossible or close to impossible to return back to corporation or to any other type of making money, because only the entrepreneurship actually can boost the maximum creativity and proactivity out of you, and then all the resources that you were lacking before, you can find a way to get them. So like the end note would be that sustainability, not only in transportation but in any type of business, is the only alternative, the only way to go. And I would like to reach out to the general public who is looking at this conference, and also to the corporations, that corporate social responsibility is not something that is written in their corporate documents. It's something that comes to life and should come to life, if not today, then tomorrow. Thank you very much.